General Stanley A. McChrystal, the new commander of NATO and American forces in Afghanistan, has spoken about a new emphasis on minimizing civilian casualties in Afghanistan. At the same time, General McChrystal has also warned that fighting could get bloodier in the coming months as more American and NATO troops arrive in Afghanistan. In other words, there will be more innocent civilians killed in the coming days, weeks, and months in Afghanistan. Defense Secretary Robert Gates has underlined the need to win the hearts and minds of the Afghanis as the U.S. begins to deploy its troops there. How can these two statements be reconciled? How is it going to be possible to win the hearts and minds of the Afghans when, by all accounts, it is the civilian population that suffers the most in contemporary warfare? In the 1996 United Nations report titled "The Impact of Armed Conflict on Children," it states, "The proportion of war victims who are civilians has dramatically increased in recent decades, from 5% to over 90%, and at least half of these casualties are children. We at the Children's Theater for Peace will monitor the increase of American and NATO troops in Afghanistan and the deadly consequences that it will have on the civilian population, and particularly on children in Afghanistan. We at the Children's Theater for Peace ask Secretary Gates and General McChrystal, how can the U.S. win the hearts and minds of the Afghanis when so many innocent children will be killed as the U.S. flexes its military muscles and brutally exposes the Afghani children to the horrors of war? The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child says, war violates every right of a child: the right to life, the right to be with family and community, the right to health, the right to the development of the personality, and the right to be nurtured and protected. Secretary Gates and General McChrystal, the Children's Theater for Peace holds both of you responsible and accountable for every child's death that happens under your watch.